Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's Matthew, and today we are continuing on with the My Favorite Random Treasures exclusive tournament. So, in the last video, I mentioned that there were several attempts to film these videos, but for whatever reason, each time the video was being corrupted and wasn't saving appropriately. So, on Saturday, December 2nd, I filmed all three round 2 videos, and only the first video actually saved and was posted on time. So round 2, part 2, because I had to keep filming the videos over and over again, I actually messed up this round. I do apologize for that. So round 2, part 2, I filmed it on the 2nd, had to refilm it again a few days later, I think on Tuesday, and then today's Thursday the 7th, so I filmed a video today, I posted a video today for part 2. That was the third time I actually filmed that video. So I'm going to go back because I really messed up that video. So just kind of give you a recap. Round 2, part 1, Butch Reed defeated Mr. Perfect. Smash defeated Alpha. And Brother Love defeated Razor Ramon. That Brother Love winning is important, and I'll explain. Brother Love defeated Razor Ramon, and Arn Anderson defeated Tully Blanchard. So, the first time I filmed the video, it was Animal vs. Axe in part 2, Barbarian vs. Dino Bravo, Terry Taylor vs. Sid Vicious, and then Dusty Rhodes vs. Barry Windham. That video was scrapped because it didn't save correctly. And because I want to give a general surprise, and, you know, I couldn't do that knowing who already squared off in one, so I redid the video. I did it a second time, and Dino Bravo squared off against Terry Taylor, Jerry Lawler squared off against Sid Vicious, Zeus squared off against Dusty Rhodes, and Abdullah the Butcher versus the Barbarian. That video was scrapped. So, our third attempt at making part 2. Barbarian defeated Sika. The Brother Love versus Animal, who was supposed to be Hawk, so I already messed that up. But because Brother Love was actually part of the first video, we're going to scrap that entire matchup. So Brother Love may have lost, but he is going to be in round 3 because he was the original video 1 winner. So really, we're only looking at Barbarian defeating Sika, and Dusty Rhodes defeating Terry Taylor, and Jerry Lawler defeating Dino Bravo. So just 3 matches, which is fine because the last video would have had only 3 matches anyways. So we'll have that 4th match in this video. The original time I made this video, round 2, part 3, Ultimate Warrior squared off against Jerry Lawler, Abdullah the Butcher squared off against Hawk, and Zeus squared off against Sika. So hopefully this video posts correctly and we have no more further issues moving forward. But before we do draw the names at random and start the process of this video, guys, big part of my channel is doing tournaments like these. It's been a lot of fun for me, and it looks like a lot of folks actually really enjoy them as well, so that's great. The different tournaments actually allows me to show off different concepts, different toy lines and whatnot, so that's huge. One of the other things I like to do outside of tournaments or reviews is giving shoutouts. Now, it could be something as simple as, hey, here is a seller on eBay that I buy from on a consistent basis, whether they give you great service, you know, great communication, they ship your package in an expedient manner, they ship your packages with care, with the collector in mind. There are certain people I love to give shoutouts to, you know, certain sellers or certain customizers. If I buy a set of figures from a collector or from a seller, from a specific customizer, I give those shoutouts all the time. I have no qualms about giving recommendations to people and be like, hey, these are folks that I absolutely love. I'm sure you guys would love them as consumers yourselves. Today, I'm going to give a special shout out to a good friend. He operates in the UK and Japan. His name is alexgoodchild. And on eBay, if you ever look up the screen name Alyood10, ALYOOD10, one of the best sellers I've ever done business with. all those recommendations I talked about as far as great communication, getting your packages out to you, and he ships worldwide free. That is one of the best benefits he has. Also, another reason why I've been wanting to talk about Alex is he has recently come out with a new webpage that he created. I'm so mad at current buyers. Why? Because Alex created this website. It's called retrofigure.com. Now, I think that this website would benefit new buyers more than current buyers, such as myself, and I'll explain why. So, retrofigure.com, it's essentially a reliable version to the wrestling toy tracker, wrestlingtoytracker.com. Now, what they do is they use actual data to kind of calculate what people are paying for certain action figures. Now, I've actually gone onto his website at retrofigure.com, and it's not like just Hasbro, but it's LJN and basically all the major toy lines. And yeah, you could look at eBay, right? And hey, I'm purchasing a Hasbro Hulk Hogan Series 1. What has it sold for recently? Alright, $7, $10, $22. But it only goes back 90 days. Now, unlike, the Wrestling Toy Tracker, it doesn't actually give you real life data. His website, it gives you purchases in real time, and it goes back farther and further, so you can see what you're actually paying for these items. If I had known or had this at my fingertips in the past, I would not have paid $800 for a mint on card Bam Bam Bigelow LJN. I could have looked at that tracker. Okay, what is the going cost or going rate of this figure? It might settle between $230 and $315. So buying it on auction would have made no sense for me. I could have waited and bought it from someone else or sent them an offer. As I said, for me, right now, because my collection is so extensive, I've already bought everything I need. But guys, one of my main points of making these videos is basically to inspire others, the way that I've been inspired to collect or to make a YouTube channel. And, maybe there's certain things that you want to gravitate towards, either as a fan or for nostalgia reasons. This website, guys, I check it out. I implore you to do so. It is actually one of the most incredible pieces to help you as a consumer. So that's Alex's website, and I'm going to use that site daily, no doubt about it. And with that being said, guys, we are officially going to start the beginning of round 2, part 3. Alright, so, where is my hat? Little trusty hat. Another thing I kind of did in the last video, because I had made all the winners, or I had chosen all the winners, I put all the winners back in the hat. So when I went diving back in to pull the remake of part 2 and remake of part 3, what's happening? I had all the winners in here already, so that's why Brother Love was part of the last video. But we're canceling that. Brother Love is in part 3, and the victory for Hawk has been eliminated. So Hawk's name is back in here, or Animo's name is back in here as well. So I think from this point forward, the videos will be in order and will be correct. Alright, so, guys, the first one we are looking at is Abdullah the Butcher. And Abdullah is going to square off against Legion of Doom Hawk. Next up, we've got Axe, as he is going to do battle against Barry Windham. Next matchup is going to feature Zeus, and he will square off against Animal. So Zeus versus Animal. Huh. Because I messed up the last video, he should never have squared off against Brother Love, and seeing him move on to round 3 and now kind of looking at this battle, it's like, dang. Animal just can't seem to catch a break. Next one up is going to feature the Ultimate Warrior, and he will square off against the last contestant, which is Sid Vicious. Alright, so I am going to get these figures pulled, and we will begin shortly. Alright, everybody, the figures have been pulled, and we are going to start off with Abdullah the Butcher as he squares off against Hawk. Right off the bat, this is not an easy decision. Play pose on either one is really solid, but just not perfect. So, play pose will have nothing to do with my decision in this respective video. And because I keep pulling Abdullah the Butcher every time I've made these videos in round 2, and the ones that keep getting corrupted, I keep talking about certain elements of this figure that I'm noticing that I'm really enjoying, but I don't know if I brought that up previously in like a round 1 video or not. And I don't want to keep saying the same things over and over again. But I'm going to assume that this was part of the corrupted videos, so explanation would be brand new. So, I've been looking at this figure, both on the other side of the room as well as on this side of the room. And I thought maybe because of the lights were kind of blocking it, but I just do not see any of those cuts on his head, you know. And my Wrestling Writer custom of Abdullah Butcher, he has that very reflective where you can see those little red, you know, blood, obviously, cuts in his forehead. So I don't like the fact that he's missing that. You guys already know, because Abdullah Butcher was synonymous for, like, when he gets in trouble in his matches, he'd reach into his pants and pull out a fork, and he would start stabbing his opponents with them. And it wasn't just, you know, kayfabe where they've got like some kind of blood packet in their hand or something, and they just kind of wipe it on their heads to make it seem like, you know, they're bleeding. This man was a lunatic. He was legitimately cutting those guys, and considering that he was slicing his own body up previous to participating in said match, the fact that you're spreading your hepatitis like that is freaking insane. I mean, imagine if one of those guys actually died. I've never heard of anyone dying from being cut by Abdullah Butcher, but it doesn't mean it never happened. I mean, it's just something that maybe I just never heard of it. Simple enough. But either way, that is insane. To allow him to continue wrestling professionally by pulling some crap like that made no sense. I always kind of felt like Abdullah Butcher is one of the most interesting characters, nonetheless. Not exactly the most versatile wrestler there is. I mean, I kind of said that King Kong Bundy, a man who is in very similar size of Abdullah Butcher, was very agile in the ring. You know, for a big guy, he moved around. Yokozuna, once Yokozuna got up there to like 600 pounds or something, I mean, he basically would have had to like tag with Owen Hart for like tag belts and stuff. Why? Because he just could not move around and be that force that he was intended to be. But like you see him in like the little territories and whatnot, or little wrestling schools, whatever they were, I kind of look at them as like the minor leagues of the WWF, with the WWF obviously being the majors. And, you know, Yokozuna was still a pretty freaking big guy, 350, 400 pounds easy. But the way that he kind of moved around the ring, slammed people and whatnot, incredible. Abdullah Butcher, to me, going back and watching these matches, I just never got that impression that he was ever a very mobile guy. But because of some of those antics, it makes him one of the more desired fellas to watch. And because of his size, we love watching big guys wrestle. King Kong Bundy, Andre the Giant, Abdullah the Butcher, you know, natural disasters. The big guys always seem to have the most interesting. Even a bigger, you know, big boss man. Yeah, when he slimmed down some, he was still fantastic. But he was still a little bit up there as well. Akeem or One Man Gang, sure. So Vince McMahon always, I've said before, Vince McMahon had this obsession with bringing in bodybuilder types. And, you know, you look at America, and I'm sorry, but Americans prefer the bigger, heftier guys. Nobody wants to be looking at Rick Rude and his six pack and being jealous that, hey, we can't ever get to that size. Not the best wrestler ever. Fun figure, though. Amazing. One of the things I really love about the aspect of this figure, and I really never really appreciated it at the beginning, but the way that his pants kind of ride up into his butt like that, I mean, that is so... That's like, it's Abdullah the Butcher shrunken down. Like a real person has that kind of happening to him. And when you look at like the outline of the pants right here, it looks like you could actually see the underwear underneath his pants. So that is so sensational. So you've got the creases all in the right place. Even on the front of the pants, where the creases kind of raise up into his groin and whatnot. And of course, because he had that huge belly and everything, he had to wrap his pants over his belly button, kind of hide his stomach. I mean, to be a man that size, you've got to be embarrassed. Kind of the way his breast kind of tangle and whatnot. This is really well done. And I give Random Treasures a lot of credit for this particular figure. And the elf shoes. I love the elf shoes. You look at guys like Abdullah and Iron Sheik with the elf shoes. I'm crazy about that. You know, a fun figure, you know, for choke slamming. And of course, you know, he gets someone in the ropes and he does those little small, little right hooks and whatnot. That's fine. Not the best fighting ever, but it's more than doable, serviceable for a kid or someone who wants to wrestle the figure. And, yeah, just kind of look at the flaps around the sides. I mean, this is so perfect. Legion of Doom Hawk. This one, the Legion of Doom figures in general are some of the most pristine action figures in Ram Treasures. And even if you didn't just look at them as Ram Treasure figures and just looked at them as my favorite LJNs, period, regardless of manufacturer, regardless of customizer. So that's why the Legion of Doom characters always do so well in the My Favorite LJN tournaments. I've made 2 of them already. I'm possibly going to make a 3rd one, but that's up to the fans to decide. Otherwise, I'll skip it this year. These guys are like, what, 2nd or 3rd round characters? And, you know, 2nd round... No, I'd probably put it more like 3rd or 4th round guys. They're good pieces. For right now, at over 200 figures, probably 250, something like that. If I do another My Favorite LJN tournament, and I do a random drawing, and not just how they sit on the shelf, these guys could make it 5 or 6 rounds. But they could also get eliminated in the 1st round. So that's the choice you got to live with once you do a random drawing. In kind of like the Nikolai Volkov pose. As you guys know, Nikolai Volkov was the very first LJN I've ever owned, and it's what inspired me and gave me my first love of LJN. And using this pose, it's not a bad pose. It's, you know, it's a top-notch figure, top-notch fighting pose. Unlike Sid Vicious, where his arms are more extended and out, you know, Hawk's arms are basically in more, and so it's not quite Sid Vicious. It's not quite like a Animal Ken Patera type pose or anything like that. As far as playability, yeah, definitely better than Animal. But because Animal has the amazing face paint, I think it's a better figure overall. And kind of like when we look at Abdullah the Butcher with the rising of his pants and the outline of the pants and everything, just look at that, the muscle tone of Hawk. That is absolutely incredible. I love that they do that. To be that strong, to like when you arch your back to get that type of muscle definition in your back, sensational. Legion of Doom, I kind of felt like would go towards the end. If not the bottom 6, they'd have to be somewhere in the bottom 8, bottom 10, right? It would make sense. They're elite figures. I just don't think I'm ready to pass on Abby just yet. So, Abdullah Butcher is going to proceed into round 3. All right, next matchup is going to feature... Nope, I didn't pull it. I'm going to pause real quick. Alright, sorry everybody. So the next matchup is going to feature Axe as he does battle against Barry Windham. Considering that the first time I did this video, you know, round 2, part 3, Barry Windham squared off against, who was it? I think it was Dusty Rhodes. So, that was a lot of good commentary. I loved that matchup so much, but I also hated it because one of my favorites were removed from competition, you know, earlier than I would have liked. I'm not going to say which one, and if that matchup happens again, I may not even select the same person. Here is an upside and downside of each figure. I think the Galoob 2-ups are doing so well in this tournament, but can you really call them exclusives of Ram Treasures? And that's where my bind has been ever since I've started collecting these figures from Ram Treasures. Because the original Galoob line, they're just basically using the exact same design, no changes, other than making them rubber and blowing them up twice the size. To me, they're Galoob. That's why I simply call them Galoob 2-ups. And when I look at a figure like Barbarian or like Zeus, Tully Blanchard, to me those are exclusives. These are only exclusive based on the fact that they're LJN and not Galoob. Simply put. So, in a nutshell, if, let's say, Barry Windham wins this tournament, would that be fair? I don't know. I feel like some people might think that's cheating, but I wanted to include the Galoob 2-ups because it gives us more figures, more opportunities for success, more opportunities to just enjoy some fun matches. And of course, you guys already know this axe is not Ram Treasures. It's a original that someone else customized. I bought it off a seller off eBay. I believe it came from Buddy Daly, Stangergq on eBay. And I've always kept it with the Ram Treasures collection because it's the same paint scheme in the face as Ram Treasures. So in that regard, I'm not going to find any problems with the rubber, with the color scheme, or the the hardness, thickness of the rubber because, again, it's not Ram Treasures. As much as I love Barry Windham, Galoob, and great figure. Sid Vicious and Barry Windham from LJN, or in LJN form, it were still solid figures. But the problem is, with the same thing with both figures, the color scheme is not pristine, and it's very cheap, pathetic rubber. I think it's a little bit stronger than what you get from, like, Bob Backlund, what have you, but I mean it's not like the Dino Bravo type of rubber. So I feel like if you're a kid and you're playing with these guys, yeah, you're gonna see massive paint loss. You're gonna see possible rips in the rubber here and there, and that's the reason I will never play with these guys. I mean, I might be a grown adult, but you know what? I see a lot of guys making wrestling matches, and I want to have some wrestling matches. I mean, shoot. Sometimes, I told you guys, I'm retired, so I'm basically home all day, and I kind of work around the house, do other things, watch YouTube or whatnot, because I really don't have anything else to do. You know how many times I've come down to this room and looked at this guy, or Sid Vicious, or any of these other fantastic figures, and wanted to wrestle them so bad, but I just don't remember how the guys wrestled and all that stuff, so it just doesn't make sense for me. But Barry Windham is absolutely incredible. I think it's a relatively easy decision based on play pose. I've always appreciated the Barry Windham figures so much more. And I think even before I even brought these figures out, when I saw the names drawn, I think I was ready to go to Barry Windham. The only thing that Demolition, either Axe or Smash, would have over guys like Barry Windham and Butch Reed and Sid Vicious, etc., and that's just a Galoob. That doesn't even include the other figures, is the fact that, these guys, they come with these amazing vests, and with the spikes and everything, face paint is amazing. Do I want to pass over guys like Barry Windham to keep these type of figures in there? I want to say yes. I want to say yes because even though he's not really the best play hand pose, it's something you could still work with. You know, I kind of joke around like, yeah, you got to punch him like this, but not really. I mean, you could sit there and pretend, you know, whatever. Uh, I still think anyone could get a lot of enjoyment out of these if they wanted to use them. I can't do it. I have to choose Barry Windham. I just love the figure too much, and it's the decision that works for me. I'm sure there's plenty of people at home watching that might think, nope, I think X deserved it to move forward much more than Barry Windham. And, you know, if you feel differently, definitely let me know in the comments. I mean, that's, you know, I love hearing, you know, what you guys think and, you know, who you would choose and whatnot. And that's one thing I don't think anyone's been doing. I don't think anyone's been mentioning, like, who they would choose in any specific video. Hey, guys, go ahead and do it. If you think I made a wrong decision, you know, hey, let's get the conversation going, right? Alrighty, so the next battle is going to feature Animal as he does battle against Zeus. Poor Animal. So, just kind of recapping. So the first time, and Axe would have actually lost if I'd gone off the original plan anyways, so it really doesn't hurt losing him right now. So the first time I filmed 2-2, Animal actually defeated Axe in the first matchup. And the second time I filmed it, so the second time Animal did not partake. The third time I filmed it earlier today, I had him squaring off against Brother Love, which was stupid because Brother Love already appeared. So and he won that matchup. So he got he got messed over twice now. And now in a video that I'm hoping is going to be playable and, you know, postable, whatever, he gets the opportunity to square off against Zeus. This is a bona fide final match type of deal here. It could be the last two standing type of deal, or, you know, one of these guys could be eliminated in the second or third round. You just never know. I don't know what else I could say about Zeus. I really don't know a lot about Tiny Lister's career. I mean, I've seen him in plenty of things, but like No Holds Barred and Friday are really like the only movies I can really picture him appearing in. What was the movie called? I want to say Armed and Dangerous. I think it was like, was it John Candy and Levi, something Levy, the guy from American Pie. I think he may have appeared in that movie as well. Again, I'm trying to think of the movies that I saw when I was like, you know, 5, 6 years old type of deal, 7 years old, whenever that movie came out, I don't know. But, so I know of the character Tiny Lister, or I know Tiny Lister as an actor. And I'll probably always throw it out every time I look at this figure. No Holds Barred will always probably be my all-time favorite wrestling movie. They got this new Von Erich movie, I think it's called Iron Claw. And the guy from Shameless is in there as well as one of the Von Erich brothers. I might watch that at some point, and who knows, that could potentially replace it. But it's really hard to pick. When you have a favorite your entire life, it's really hard to switch over. It's like I always talk about, you know, black and gray being my favorite colors to wear. But, you know, I could always say that blue's been my favorite color my whole life, right? So it's kind of hard to move away from certain things. Zeus is incredible. And Animal, I always said, his pose stinks. You know, even worse than the Hawk pose. Body type is, you know, pretty nice. It's not. I like the aspect of the muscles when Hawk is posing. You don't get that same muscle definition in the back of Animal, which sucks. His pose is terrible. You know, everything from the waist down is identical to Hawk. So really, it comes down to the pose and head mold. I've always said, Animal is always going to have the best figure of Legion of Doom, no matter what you're talking about. It could be these customs. It could be your Hasbros. I used to think that Animal had the best Remco figure between the two. Road Warriors, but I kind of changed my opinion. I kind of now gravitate towards Hawk for the Remco figures, but you can't take anything away from this figure. This is absolutely amazing. Is the rubber as good? Again, as like Dino Bravo type, because these guys are big, strong men, you would think absolutely, but no. So what did I just start the other day? Just yesterday, I think I pulled out WrestleMania 8, and I started watching WrestleMania 8. And first match was, pretty solid. Shawn Michaels versus Tito Santana. And then second match was... it was The Undertaker, and who did he battle? Jake Roberts. For the love of me, I cannot remember those matches worth a darn. Like, I know I've seen WrestleMania 8, but that's crazy to go back in and see these matches and not realizing that I've seen these before. So sometimes you'll watch something, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember it now just by seeing it, and then like this, you don't remember, there's like no flashbacks. But it was nice to see that the Legion of Doom, I only turned it off like 45 minutes in, but manager Paul Ellering was back managing Legion of Doom for WrestleMania 8, so that was pretty awesome. To kind of put a live face to the actual Remco figure. Normally I yammer on when I have no idea who I'm going to choose, and I hope that over time of talking that something's going to come up, but really nothing. I have no idea. This should be like a final match. That's how difficult this decision is. But I don't want this video to go 2 hours, so I'm going to put Animal down, and I'm going to go with Zeus. To me, I just think that Zeus really draws the line of top quality action figures. Is his rubber the best? Nah, probably not, but it's not the worst. I mean, it's a solid rubber for the figure, and I'm happy to see Zeus in round 3, and I think he is still a bona fide last 6. So I think he'll make it out of round 3. I think he'll make it in round 4 for the semifinals. Again, based on the number of figures and these matchups, the semifinals is going to be 6 figures, with the finals being 3. So Zeus does defeat Animal and moves on to round 3. And the last matchup is going to feature probably 2 top 5 figures from Random Treasures. And it's going to feature the Ultimate Warrior as he squares off against Sid Vicious. Ultimate Warrior, do I want to say the same thing I always say? I'll pass this time. I'm not going to make that same comment. But you guys know what comment I'm thinking of when I look at this Ultimate Warrior. So for my buddy Eric Boyer, Wrestling Writer on eBay and Instagram, I don't use Instagram, but he's on there as well. Facebook, probably look him up on Eric Boyer. So he made an Ultimate Warrior that I purchased probably 2 years ago, and I think Ultimate Warrior and I think Powers of Pain were probably the first 3 customs I ever purchased from him. So I probably picked those up around November of 2021, I believe. And he had this, essentially this Ultimate Warrior, this color scheme, I should say. And I don't know if I like the hair better, the head on better on this one than that one. I think I like that one better because the head is a little bit bigger. And it was basically an Ultimate Warrior head on a Hulk Hogan body, but obviously they do the body differently, so it matches up better with Ultimate Warrior. But the fighting pose is incredible. You can actually feel the texture of like the little tassels on his boots and everything. And again, it's just the same color scheme without, the little strings, tassels. I enjoy that figure better, so when I see this figure, I don't want that. I mean, it wasn't necessary. LJN, I like better. I brought it up, sorry. Fighting pose is a Warlord. I love Warlord, top 10 LJN figure, incredible. This is a fantastic piece. Because of some of the things that I mentioned, is reasons why I don't covet it as much, but I still keep him as like your number 3 or number 4 all-time best Random Treasure figure. Now with guys like Jerry Lawler and Dusty Rhodes and Abdullah Butcher, etc., I mean, would he still be in the top 5? Most likely, I'd say yes. At this point, I probably think he's still on number 4. Just my guess. Just kind of looking at the figures and estimating. But Sid Vicious. I know that there are figures in this tournament that can beat Sid Vicious. Yes, the Ultimate Warrior is definitely one of them. But the problem I have with Sid Vicious is it's so difficult for me to put him down because of my love of this particular Galoob figure growing up. And I didn't really think about it over the years. When I started collecting, a couple years ago, and I started looking at different action figures, I started thinking, okay, what was my favorite figure? Or what is my favorite figure? And I had to settle on Sid Vicious. I always felt like this was the one go-to that you could always enjoy. Just like your LJNs, I love the fact that the knees are bent and, the legs are apart, because not only can he body slam, but he can be body slam, right? Perfect body slam positioning. And just an awesome pose. Even the way that the arms are like that, it's still a fantastic clothesline. And, it's just a really fun power bomb. And just basically the person raising over his head. I mean, the arms don't even touch, but that's fine. Use your imagination, everything, right? Color scheme and pose. Pose I give to Sid Vicious. Color scheme, Warrior has it all day. Because the rubber isn't as nice, I don't think. And Ultimate Warrior is a legitimate threat to defeat Sid Vicious. Make no mistake about that. The question is, am I ready to allow Ultimate Warrior to defeat Sid Vicious? And because of this figure and because of this round, I guess that's one of the reasons why I decided to start watching WrestleMania 8. Because I want to go back. I want to watch that Hogan versus Sid Vicious match. I mean, it's one of those, 2-part main events. Sid Vicious versus Hulk Hogan. And then later on, you've got Macho Man versus Ric Flair. And kind of listening in on, Jason from JP's World of Wrestling. And when he talked about his WrestleManias, or his memories of WrestleMania, and he brought up WrestleMania 8, and in one of his videos he talked about how fans always believed that Hogan and Ric Flair should have been the main event, the premier main event. But the way that kind of Sid Vicious kind of threw Hogan over the ropes and cost him a chance of winning the Royal Rumble, and because the belt was vacated, it wasn't the winner of the Royal Rumble meets the champion at WrestleMania. No, the winner of the 92 Royal Rumble, Ric Flair, was the heavyweight champion because of that. So he won the belt because he won the Royal Rumble. And so that whole meet up between Hogan and Sid Justice in WrestleMania 8 made sense. And Jason also pointed out that I guess they did house shows or something, and from what I've learned is that the two guys didn't draw very well. I don't know how that's possible. I mean, you got two of the biggest names on the planet. Maybe because Ric Flair is just a complete asshole. People just weren't interested in seeing his bouts. But, so, in general, I guess I kind of understand the desire to have the two main events. And I don't think Ric Flair beat Macho Man, if I'm not mistaken. I think Macho Man still held that title. What was WrestleMania 9 or... No. Ric Flair was champion. So Ric Flair was champion. This was 92. Yeah. Ric Flair was champion. So I got to watch that tape, man. I'm probably not going to watch the whole thing straight through. Probably do like what I did last night. Watch like 45 minutes at a time or something. Gosh, for the love of me, I can't remember if Ric Flair lost his title to Savage, or if it was like a count out, disqualification or something. You know how they always do that when they don't want to drop the belt, but they don't want the other wrestler to look weak. They have count outs, disqualifications. I hate that. Here's another matchup I don't know. I keep yammering on because I don't know who I want to choose. Theoretically, Ultimate Warrior is the better figure. I'm going to go with Sid Vicious. At this point, is he the frontline contender to win this tournament? I think so, but don't bet the farm on that because you just never know. Sid Vicious was in the My Favorite LJN tournament the second time I did it. He made it to the finals but couldn't win. I teamed the LJN, Barry Windham, and Sid Vicious together. I also teamed the 4-inch Galoob, Sid Vicious and Barry Windham together when I did the My Favorite Tag Team tournament. The LJNs didn't go as far, but the Galoob versions did. They made it to the finals, didn't win. So Sid Vicious keeps going towards the end of every tournament I make, it seems, but just isn't put overboard. And I got some amazing Galoob customs from Rob Jackson, and I sent a couple Sid Vicious figures, which he made for me. Made a couple of different characters out of them. I think if I do a My Favorite Galoob tournament, originally I kind of felt like this would have jumped out immediately, but now I kind of feel like he may not even win that one. So, but it'll be fun to put nostalgia against, the new color schemes, new designs, new characters. Would he have a chance? Of course. Sid Vicious has a chance in everything because he is such a beloved figure in my life. Wanted to see Ultimate Warrior in the last 6, but making it to round 2, getting eliminated by Sid Vicious, there's worse ways to go out. So, with that, this concludes round 2, and with 4 winners, 8 winners. So we're going to have, when we start round 3, we're going to have 11 winners. So, because it's uneven, the last 3 standing, or last 3 to be pulled, we'll have another 1-on-1-on-1 with 2 figures moving forward to round 4. So that'll still give us 6 victors for the beginning of round 4. And then round 5 will be the 3-man finals. I'll probably split the semifinals and finals up just because I figure it's going to probably take a lot longer than 20 minutes to come to a conclusion as to which one I want to choose. Yeah, that's it for now, guys. So, grab my little notebook down here. So many notebooks to work with. So I want to close, guys, once again. Alex Goodchild, check him out. Check out his retrofigure.com website. If you're a collector, or even if you're not a collector, if you're a seller, you sell on eBay, Mercari, what have you, look at the data for different figures from different toy lines and see what they normally go for. You might have your carded Hulk Hogan that you're selling on Mercari for like $500, and you might look and see that over the last year or so that figure has regularly sold for $800 plus. Just, again, example. And you know that you're actually losing money. So, or vice versa. You can have a Jimmy Snuka on card that you're trying to sell for $900 and find out that the highest it's sold for in the last year is $400. So that just means you're just going to have to alter your asking price. And just a huge benefit. I mean, like I said, I'm going to use it. I've already been using it. What else? From Alex. I also purchased these, a lot of 6 figures, Mannix bootleg figures as well. I'm really excited about those. I pulled out a couple and I looked at them, and they're like, they're like kind of like Remco's to an extent. Good size to them. Very playable figures. Fantastic look, especially for bootleg. And I may get them on card eventually, but right now, just getting those 6 figures in loose is pretty remarkable. At the end of this tournament, that is going to be my next video. It's going to be a review of the Mannix figures, and that should be a lot of fun as well. For those who enjoy bootleg figures, or simply guys who just want to see different reviews of other toy lines. Alright, probably not today, but tomorrow I'll come back down. I'll film a few more videos for round 3, and it'll probably take 2 videos. We'll see what happens. Alright guys, that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching, per usual. Leave a comment if you'd like, and I will talk to you in the comments, and see you in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.